Do you consider yourself a high achiever? Smart, driven, highly successful? I am so excited to have you. My name is Julia Arndt and I'm the host of the Stress Podcast. I will help you develop your stress resilience the same way you've developed your workplace superpowers. Learn peak performance tools to thrive at work and in your personal life. Let's get started. In the summer of 2018, I felt really stressed and really overwhelmed, and honestly, I just didn't feel like myself anymore. Eventually, I got diagnosed with anxiety and depression, two problems that today indicate burnout, which is a recognized disease by the World Health Organization since May 2019. I had to learn new habits and new routines in order to get myself out of this burnout cycle. And in today's video, I want to share 5 daily routines with you that I integrated into my life in order to reduce anxiety and stress. So let's get started. Hi, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Julia Arndt and I'm a peak performance coach and stress management trainer. And I'm really excited that you're watching this video today because I want to share a little bit more about my own personal story of how I got out of burnout, reduced stress and anxiety. Because I think more and more people suffer from burnout, especially during this time where you are staying at home, where you're working from home, and where you are maybe not so well disconnecting from work after hours. Which is one thing that's actually super important, but this is not one of the tips that I want to share with you today. When I suffered from burnout in 2018, I had to make changes in my life. I just couldn't live the way I lived before. I'm a super sensitive person and there's a lot of different videos on my YouTube channel about highly sensitive people, imposter syndrome, peak performance tools that I have created in order to help you create a more sustainable lifestyle and sustain your performance over time. Because I know that at the end of the day, that's exactly what you want to do. So let's talk about a couple of different things here. First of all, what is important to mention is that not all stress is negative. Stress is actually super important for you in a way, and I'm going to explain in a second what I mean by that. But in general, stress has a super negative association. But when you understand that you actually need stress in order to perform on a day-to-day basis, then you might change your perspective on how you think about stress. The problem with stress is that way too many people have too high elevated stress levels all the time, which then lead to different problems both physically and mentally. I want to explain to you today the so-called stress curve. On the y-axis you have performance and on the x-axis you have stress. And it looks a little bit like a bell curve, so something like this. And so when you are talking about stress and when we're talking about the stress curve, it is important to understand that at the beginning, when you are starting to have low stress, you also have low performance because you actually need certain stress hormones such as adrenaline and cortisol that are running through your body in order to make you focused and concentrated. So if you are sitting in front of this video right now, it is because you have certain levels of stress in your body and those are not unhealthy for you. You need those in order to perform on a day-to-day basis. So only when you're starting to go up on the stress curve and you're hitting a point where you have kind of a medium level of stress, you actually have high performance. This is your optimal level of performance for yourself, which is obviously super individual for every other person. Only if you continue to have higher and higher levels of stress in your body will you start to decrease your performance because you cannot work 8 hours or 10 hours or 12 hours or even 15 hours at a time without taking a break. And we are all, let's be honest, pushing our bodies and our minds way too much nowadays because we think we are invincible and we can just keep on going and keep on working and keep on doing all the things. So I hope that this really explains to you, first of all, that not all stress is negative, that you actually need a good amount of stress in your body in order to perform, but you need to make sure that you are decreasing your stress levels on a regular basis in order to stay at that performance level, okay? This is really, really important. So that is the first thing that I want you to take away from today's video. It is important to have certain levels of stress, but you cannot continue to perform when you are continuing to have higher levels of stress, and they are accumulating throughout the day. So if you don't take regular breaks, if you don't have specific routines integrated in your life, then those stress hormones are starting to accumulate. And here's the thing, with burnout and with anxiety and with depression, those things do not happen overnight. It is just over a certain amount of time, over a longer period of time, where you are accumulating these stress hormones, that you are actually starting to feel the effects of it. That is the tricky thing with burnout and anxiety. That is one of the reasons why, for example, as well, this year, more and more people will burn out as a result of last year, as a result of people having to work from home, staying at home, not disconnecting from home and work life anymore. Disconnecting from work life, you know what I mean. Disconnecting from work while being at home, and just, I guess, also learning more and more unhealthy habits. So if you want to break through that burnout cycle, you need to start to create new daily routines and habits. And that's what we're talking about in today's video. So let's talk about the first daily routine that I started to integrate into my life when I burned out in 2018. It is something that I still do every single day, Monday through Sunday, because it gives me so much peace and so much accomplishment at the beginning of the day that I feel really good about myself. And the first routine that I started to integrate is a morning routine. There is a video on my YouTube channel where you can learn about specifically how to start creating your morning routine. And I hope you're going to watch that video as well, because it gives you a lot of good insights into why you should start a morning routine. But one of the biggest and most important things of my morning routine is my journaling practice. I love journaling because it helps me to sort through all of these different thoughts that I have on my mind on a day-to-day basis. And I really hope that you will start to consider to also do a journaling practice or start a journaling practice, writing down just a couple of different things. And I do have a video on my YouTube channel about that as well. So if you need some tips and some journaling prompts about how to sustain your performance over time, I do have a video on that for you as well, which I'm going to share right up over here. So the next thing that I want to share with you is the second routine that I integrated in my life, which is daily exercise. Yes, we're going to talk about daily exercise because I think it is super, super important to move your body, especially if you're someone that is constantly sitting in front of this little nice device, your computer. And when I say to you that you should be exercising daily, I do not mean that you need to go on a treadmill or that you need to run or you need to lift weights. This would be all great if you do that, but you don't have to do it. I really consider daily exercise as literally putting on your shoes and walking outside, going into nature, moving your body. It can be as simple as that. But when you're sitting 8 or 9 or 10 hours a day, it is so, so important that you're also starting to take time for yourself and that you're starting to disconnect and you move your body. This could also be that you are going to stretch, for example, do some yoga stretches or whatever it is that you like to do in order to get your body in shape, right? If you say, I don't really like to do anything, then that's okay as well. Then please just go outside and walk in nature. That is the second daily routine that I started to integrate into my life. I did have a really good workout routine before 2018, and then slowly but surely in the process of me burning out from 2016, I would say, to 2018, I cut more and more of my exercise routine out of my life because I felt like I didn't have enough time anymore to do all of the different things. And of course, it was always so much easier to cut out my own personal time than to cut out any of my work stuff, because obviously I wanted to be a peak performer and I wanted to just produce and be a good person, a good employee all the time. So number 1, journaling and morning routine. Number 2, daily exercise. The next tip that I want to share with you is something that I already mentioned before, but I do want to highlight it again. It is so important that you are taking regular breaks. Again, when we're looking at our stress curve, You want to make sure that you are decreasing your stress levels to stay at that performance level. You are not able to sustain the performance over time if you're not taking care of yourself and if you're not taking care of reducing your stress levels on a regular basis. That is why you need to take regular breaks. This is so important. People think they can go on vacation once or twice a year and that's how they just recharge fully, but that's not true. If you are working a lot, you also need to do a lot of self-care. You need to take a lot of breaks. And the more you work, the more stress hormones you accumulate, so the more you need to do in order to reduce those stress levels as well. So if you are currently having trouble, for example, sleeping, this might be an indication that you are not taking enough regular breaks throughout the day, that you're not moving your body enough, that you're not taking care of what's going on up here in order to feel a little bit more even leveled, okay? So taking regular breaks, super important, and something that I also had to force myself to do on a regular basis, because yes, we all have super unhealthy habits and we think that if we just keep on working, we're going to be done earlier, but it's not the case. I want you to test this out because I am absolutely sure that once you are starting to do that, you're actually going to be more performant. The next routine that really helped me to reduce anxiety and my stress levels is to disconnect from my device. In fact, when I'm doing my morning routine, the first hour of the day is completely deviceless. So I'm not checking my phone, I am not checking my messages, I am not checking my emails, because I realized that that created so much anxiety in my life that when I started to work, my anxiety was already up here. So in order to decrease that and in order to make sure that in the morning or in the evening that you're taking care of yourself, it is important to disconnect. So it doesn't just have to be in the morning, it can be at any point in time during the day. In the morning, in the evening, during the day. For example, if you go exercise, please disconnect from your device. When we were still able to go to the gym, I was always chuckling to myself when I saw people on the treadmill and they still had their phone in front of them. Right? That little slight bend still in their neck, still running and still checking emails or talking to people, and it's just not what you should be doing. It is super important that you are disconnecting from your device at least once or twice a day for an hour or two. Do this for yourself and see what a powerful effect it will have on you. And if you want to learn a little bit more about that, I also did a video on how to reduce notifications, and I did actually test to not post, for example, on Instagram for a couple of weeks as well. So if you want to learn more about that, I will link the video up here as well. So finally, we talked about a couple of different ways of how to reduce stress and anxiety today. I actually just realized that I summarized 2 of my tips in one in the first note, which was about morning routine and journaling. Both of these things are super important. So make sure that you are starting either a morning routine or an evening routine or a journaling practice. Again, those are all things that I talk about in different videos on my YouTube channel as well. So I would love if you would check out these videos, because I am producing this content at the end of the day for you, because I really want to help you understand that stress is not all bad and that there are ways to sustain your performance over time and that you can in fact avoid and prevent burnout. So I really hope that these tips that I shared with you today were helpful for you. I really hope that you're not just listening to this information. I hope that you're going to get into action. So I want you to think about one thing that I talked about in today's video that you can actually take action on, because the biggest gap in life is between knowing things and doing things. So if you don't start to do something differently to what you have been doing before, you're not going to start to see any changes in your life. You're not going to reduce your stress levels, and you're going to have still very high elevated levels of stress. So think about what you want to do and leave me a comment as an accountability and a commitment below, and let us know what are you going to do in order to start reducing your stress and anxiety. I really hope that I will see you in the next video. So thank you so much for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it and subscribe to my channel. So talk to you soon. Bye bye.